Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotra Shata Shri Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vas Adi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Brihad Mridanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Namom Vishnu Paraya Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Okay, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summum Bonum, Part 4, it's Chapter 70. Oops. Yeah, this is the right one. Chapter 70, we're going to start with verse 12. Oh, right there, okay. So this is the Lord Krishna's daily activities. Okay, let's move the bookmark here. I want to apologize because I tried to get the extra commentaries other than Srila Prabhupada's, and the devotee I asked, he was just unable to get it to the right email, and it just I didn't get it, but it's okay. We're gonna read some of these verses, and then we'll get to a purport and move forward. Okay, everybody. Okay, cool. Aveksha jam tatadarsham Govishya dvijadevata Kamamscha sarva varnanam Purantak puracharinam Pradapya prakriti kamai Pratosya pratyanandata. Okay. Avikshajam tatadarsham Godvishya dvijadevata Kamamsta sarva varnanam Punantak puracharina. Come on. Is for Chaitanya Prabhu. Oh, do you want to do it or? Yeah. Okay. Oh, you did already. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of getting myself oriented here. Okay. We'll do the word for one of these, and then I'll just read the verse and translation for the rest by myself. Okay. Word for word translation. Aveksha, looking. Ajam, at purified butter. Tata, and also. Adarsham, at a mirror. Go, cows. Vrisha, bulls. Dvija, brahmanas. Devataha, the demigods. Kaman, desired objects. Sure. Thank you, Mata. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Desired objects. Cha, and. Sarva, all. Varnanam, to the members of the social classes. Paura, in the city. Antapura, and in the palace. Charinam, living. Pradapya, arranging to give. Prakritihi, his ministers. Kamaihi, with fulfillment of their desires. Pratosya, fully satisfying. Pratyanandata, he greeted them. Okay, translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. He, Krishna, would then look at ghee, a mirror, the cows and bulls, the brahmanas and the demigods, and see to it that the members of all the social classes living in the palace and throughout the city were satisfied with gifts. After this, he would greet his ministers, gratifying them by fulfilling all their desires. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master is opening my eyes with the salve of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him and to all members of Sri Parampara. Mother Leela Shakti just brought me this commentary by the different acharyas. Thank you. Also, I just wanted to thank her because I haven't got to give a class for like 6 or 7 years since until Mother Leela Shakti asked me to, so it's been nice. All right. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he would greet his ministers, prakritihi. Jiva Goswami says, Govrisha refers to untrained bulls or the best of the cows. I'm not sure why Krishna would we'll look at the untrained bulls, but there it is. He would look at the best of cows, brahmanas, and the family deity, Devata. First he would worship them. He had full opportunity to see them at that time. But again, he would look at them since that was auspicious. He gave orders to give them gifts and then satisfied ministers. By this he became pleased. Pratyanandata. Sanatan Goswami says, Tata indicates everything. Govrisha refers to untrained bulls or the best of the cows. He would look at the best of cows, brahmanas, and the family deity, Devata. First, he would worship them. He had full opportunity to see them at that time. But again, he would look at them since that was auspicious. He gave orders to give gifts to the dwarfs and servants in the palaces and city, sending them to each house, satisfying everyone completely. By satisfying them, he became more satisfied. Or he gave joy to each person, pratyanandata. Okay, amazing. So one thing I was thinking about, I wanted to say this, but I'm trying to follow the etiquette that if there is no commentary, you don't comment. By a previous acharya, I'm trying to say. So now we have this. But I was just thinking how divorced we are from auspicious things in the world, because we're living, I mean, some of us, we interact a lot with the modern world where we don't see cows regularly. Like I probably haven't seen a cow in a couple weeks. I know sometimes there's cows next to the temple in a property that's kind of close to the highway there, but they're going to be sold. They're going to be sold off to a slaughterhouse and stuff. They don't. When I was in New Talavan, one of the local farmers asked Tapapunja, who was serving there at the time, why our cows look so unhealthy? Because the fact is the cows were not unhealthy, they were old. But you don't even see old cows these days. If old cows, it's like, you can kind of see their ribs, because they're kind of old and the fat or whatever on their body, it kind of like sags. And so an old cow, they move kind of slowly and they have ribs, you can see them. I mean, a cow can be fat also, but they just figured that we were like mistreating the cows because we were protecting old cows. So you don't even see old cows today. They get to 2, 3, 4 years and then they're killed if you see them. So then I wonder, like, is it even auspicious to see such cows? Not that the cow itself isn't auspicious, but it's like if the only time you see a devotee is in jail, is that auspicious? It's like, I see devotees when they're incarcerated. You have to think about it, how inauspicious the world is right now, that we don't see these things. We don't see cows. We don't see Brahmins regularly unless, you're living at the temple or you come to the temple. You don't see these things. So that's one thing I was thinking of, is just how we're in such a different world today. We're in an industrial civilization where machines make all the things we find valuable, right? We got phones and TVs and computers, but we don't have fresh milk I mean, maybe we get fresh milk, but again, you get it from people often that are not protecting their cows. So everything is tainted at least in Kali Yuga. And but I do want to say that I went back to the Krishna book because those are Prabhupada's actual translation of these verses with interspersed purports, and he said that Krishna would see the deities or marble, like stone forms of the cows. So maybe he was doing both. Like maybe on a certain day, if he didn't actually see the cows, then he was looking at the murti of a cow, because that's what Prabhupada said. So here we have a little bit different commentaries by the acharyas, but also seeing the murti of a cow is auspicious. Simply the form of the cow is auspicious. And who was it? Sanatana Goswami said that, both Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami said that he wouldn't just, say, okay, give these cows to such and such person, but he would also look at them because it was auspicious. Like, we should see a deity, at least in the neophyte stage, we should see the deity simply because it's good for us, right? I mean, of course, on a higher level, if we love the deity of Krishna, if we love Krishna, and we know him, that we know he's there in that form, then it's not just that you're just looking at him for purification, but you're attracted. So, but people like myself, we need to do it because it's purifying. It's actually good for us, and there's a whole way to do that. You look at the feet, and then you look up like that. So this is good. Prabhupada said for the neophyte devotee, one should, it's important. He said it's important for the neophyte devotee to see the deity every day, the archa form of the Lord. Okay, so there's something. All right, I'm going to move to the next verse here. Jai Daivir Prabhu. Okay. Oh, it's up there. Okay. Samvibha jagrato vipran. Oh, sorry, go ahead. If you want to repeat. Sraktambula nule panai. Suhredak prakratir daran. Upayunkta tatak svayam. Translation. After first distributing flower garlands, pan, and sandalwood paste to the brahmanas, he would give these gifts to his friends, ministers, and wives. And finally, he would partake of them himself. So this is the behavior of, an ideal householder and king. Of course, Krishna was acting as prince there in Dwarka. But, befitting a royal member. So he serves the brahmanas, he honors prasadam, right? He's distributing flower garlands. Pan, betel, it comes from this betel palm tree, and then these nuts. I never had them. I've been offered many times, but I've heard we're not supposed to eat them because they're slightly intoxicating. But Krishna takes them, and they're the nuts from this betel tree. They're very common in India, or if you go down to Florida, you can see these trees. And sandalwood paste. Again, another thing that's very difficult to get in Kali Yuga is sandalwood. It's still there, but it's hard to get real sandalwood because it's just rare. And he would give these gifts to his friends. I'm sorry. Let me read some of the commentary here. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, distributing to the brahmanas and others the garlands and other things, he would then accept them for enjoyment himself. Upayunkta. Jiva Goswami says, afterwards, tata, he would enjoy last, since that was the decorum for the householder. Right? That's how it's supposed to be. If you have guests, or even if there's just living entities in your area, you're supposed to make sure they're fed, and then, the householder, the head of the house, he eats last. Okay. Text 14. Is that okay? Oh, thank you, Prabhu. Ishvara Chaitanya Prabhu is helping me. Tavat sutta upaniya Tasyandanam paramadbhutam sugrivadyair yuktam pranam yavastito grataha. By then the Lord's driver would have brought his supremely wonderful chariot, yoked with Sugriv and his other horses. His chariot would bow down to the Lord and then stand before him. So I guess one of his horses is Sugriv. Okay, let's go to the commentary here. Getting behind. By then after discharging the Brahmanas and others, he would go out in his chariot. The charioteer would remain in front of the Gopuram gate, which was at the end of all the roads leading from the palace. That's still a big tradition, particularly in South India. They have these huge gates before a temple complex called Gopurams. Sometimes you'll think that is the temple because it's so big, and then you realize, no, that's just the gateway to the temple. Sanatana Goswami says, the driver would bring the amazing chariot, indescribable in form and qualities, as an offering, upaniya. He would offer respects to the Lord and stand in front of him. The other horses were Shaibya. Who knows the other horses of Krishna's horses? Anybody? Okay, Megapushpa and Balahaka. So they come up somewhere else. I think in the chapter when Krishna visits Mahavishnu with Arjun, when he takes him to see Mahavishnu to bring back the children of one of the Brahmins who was complaining in Dwarka. I think that at that time these horses are described. Krishna takes this magical chariot. I don't want to say magical, but it's special. It's flying through outer space. And so these are the horses. The horses are important. Krishna's horses are important. Krishna's dogs are important. Anything that belongs to Krishna, they have names, they're personalities. Anyway. Okay, so that was the commentary on that one. Now, we're going to move on to 15. Grihitva. Oh, did I read that one? Grihitva panina pani saratestam ataruhat satyak yuddhava samyukta purvadrimiva bhaskara. Translation. Holding on to his charioteer's hand, Lord Krishna would mount the chariot together with Satyaki and Uddhava, just like the sun rising over the easternmost mountain. That's amazing. Purport. The Acharyas point out that the Lord's chariot driver would stand with joined palms, and the Lord, holding onto his joined hands with his right hand. Sorry, let me read that again. I got a little bit lost here. The Acharyas point out that the Lord's chariot driver would stand with joined palms, and that the Lord, holding on to his joined hands, his chariot driver's joined hands, he would hold on to them with his right hand and would mount the chariot. I can imagine some non-devotees just hating this idea that somebody would use another person's body to climb onto something, but the devotee thinks it's an honor. Krishna uses my hands to climb onto his chariot. It's great. We just have to the extent that we're Krishna conscious, we just have a very different outlook of the world, right? It's like it's great to be used by Krishna, but we don't like to be used by others in general. We don't like to be of that kind of menial service where somebody uses our body and then climbs up something. Actually, Prabhupada said that, although you could say it's an instance where you probably don't want to follow his instruction. He said that for service you can step on my head or step on my body. That's why I think there's room for processing some of the things. Right, Prabhupada says, should you actually do that? I don't think so. But he felt like that, I just thought of this there's a past time when the mandap above the deities was collapsing, and then Prabhupada just jumped up on the altar very quickly and put his cane up and held the mandap from collapsing on the deities. Maybe someone here knows that particular location, but that was something he did. So, the real devotee, they get out of their comfort zone for the sake of seva. And of course, this Daruka, I don't think he's out of his comfort zone. I'm just saying that it's just a different way of looking at life, that we're not on top. And we'll be happy if the Lord, uses us in this kind of way, because it'll be our greatest pleasure. Okay, so let's look at the commentary here. The Acharyas point out that the Lord's chariot driver would stand with joined palms, and that the Lord, holding onto his joined hands with his right hand, would mount the chariot. Okay, that's basically what we just read. Taking the folded hands of his charioteer with his right hand, he would mount the chariot. That was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Jiva Goswami says, the chariot was huge like a mountain. The Lord was shining like the sun because of his ornaments. The example indicates the magnificence of the chariot. Sanatana Goswami says, Ata indicates auspiciousness. Satyaki and Uddhava were the dearest servants, and thus stood by his side holding umbrella and chamara. The chariot was huge like a mountain. The Lord was shining like the sun because of his ornaments. The example indicates the magnificence of the chariot. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Satyaki is a disciple of Krishna. Is that correct? Like a martial disciple of Krishna? Uddhava is considered the best devotee in Mathura. If you could say, just like we say, Radharani is the best devotee in Vrindavan. So Uddhava is considered the best devotee in Mathura. So there's significance to one of the previous chapters when Krishna sends Uddhava to Vrindavan, because he didn't have to send Uddhava. I mean, obviously it was intentional, but he could have sent somebody else to do like that kind of service, but he wanted Uddhava to see the devotion of the Vrajavasis. So when Uddhava goes to Vrindavan and delivers this message to the gopis, he personally reads the letter because there's some commentary. It was like he didn't want the tears of the gopi to wash away the letter, and then they couldn't read it. So he decided it was intelligent for him to read it. But then when he was seeing the reaction of the gopis, he realized that actually they are the best devotees. And then he prayed that he could just become a plant in Vrindavan, just Gulma Latosha. It means like a bush, a lata, or a herb, Oshada, that he could just be something like that when he saw the devotion of the residents of Vrindavan. Actually, you'll see this. Different residents in Mathura, like a Krura, when he enters Vrindavan, right before the Vrindavan pastimes end, he prays also to become, I think, a friend of Krishna. You'll see this with some of the devotees from Mathura. They're going, at least a couple of them, and then they have like another desire come up that, no, I want to be like this in Vrindavan, So just something. I mean, this is again, way out of my pay grade, but just something interesting about Uddhava. Uddhava also, we know he likes to only wear things Krishna wore. So he's that's his mood. It's like only the prasad of Krishna, the garlands, the clothing. He also looks like Krishna, so people mistake him for Krishna. And actually, following in that line, in Dvarka, like the present-day Dvarka, if you go to the temple, the pujaris there at the temple, they, maybe all of them, it looked like all of them, they have clothing made from the flags that are hoisted on the top of the temple. So if you go, I mean, I don't know how tall, it must be like 200 or 300 feet. The shikar on the temple is so high. And somebody goes up there 3 times a day and changes the flag. And it's windy because it's on the ocean, And there's no rope or anything. They just climb up there, and the flag is so big. It's like it's literally like almost as long as this room, or maybe as long as this room. That pilgrims, it's a tradition that pilgrims, nobody assigned or anything, just regularly pilgrims come, and they like to make a flag for the temple, for Krishna, to be raised above the shikar. And they're usually very colorful. They're really colorful, like just beautiful colors. You can see a video. You could probably look it up online. I think 3 times a day they put a new flag. So pilgrims make this huge flag. It's like one of those giant, American flags that's like when you pass by a car dealership or something, but not exactly like that. Pointed, and they usually have like a bindu and a crescent on it. And so the pujaris, when the flag is done, it's cut up, and then the pujaris make dhotis and kurtas with those flags. So they all have these really colorful clothing in the mood of Uddhava. They're trying to follow that mood. So that's still going on today. That has been something I've been thinking about. Like maybe someday I would like to make a flag. I don't know. Maybe that's arrogant or something. But anyway, that'd be really nice. That would be such an honor, if you could make a flag, and then if they would fly the flag in Dwarka. I don't know, something, you could do. A lot of those pilgrims walk for hundreds of miles. It's becoming less so, because you can just take a bus now, but pilgrims used to go from, maybe still go from Pandharpur in Maharashtra, where Rukmini Vital stay, Pandurangam, and walk to Dwarka. And, they would bring some gift, often a flag, and that was part of the pilgrimage. Sorry, kind of went off topic here. What time is it? Okay. So, let's go on to the next verse. This next verse has a lot. So we're on 16 here. Ikshitonta pura strinam savridha prima vikshitai Chad visrishto niragaj jataha soharan manaha. Okay. The palace women would look upon Lord Krishna with shy, loving glances, and thus he would get free from them only with difficulty. He would then set off. That means he would leave. His smiling face captivating their minds. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti describes the scene as follows. The shy, loving glances of the palace women, hinting at their agitation, implied, quote, "How can we tolerate this torment of being separated from you?" The idea here is that because the Lord was captured by their affection, he smiled, indicating, quote, "My dear restless ladies, you are so overwhelmed by this little bit of separation. I am coming back later today to enjoy with you," end of quote. And then, with his smile captivating their minds, he got away only with difficulty, freeing himself from the bondage of their loving glances. Yeah, they were submissive. This is the power of a woman, is shyness. And this is, you can see here, this is the rasa. They didn't say, "Krishna, you better be back," or "I'm not doing this," or "I'm doing this," and no, they just accepted, okay, Krishna, he's taking care of us, and he's the Lord of my life. And because of that humbleness and shyness, the Lord is captured by it. It's there in Krishna. It's there in this world also. The same mentality exists. Of course, it's not. The rasas in this world are not pure and they're not spiritual, and because there's selfishness involved, but it works. A man will, at least if a woman behaves like that, a man will do anything for her, and that's her power. Is that actually he'll come under her control, but it's not by demanding. And of course, Krishna is married to Satyabhama, who has a nature that's feisty, but there's still like a overriding rus that Krishna is the Lord in Dwarka, And these queens, they control Krishna by their shyness. So this is something, Mataji, what's this? Oh, Fisherman's for Hare Krishna. Thank you. This is Parampara. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. I lost track. Okay, let's read the translation by the commentaries by the Acharyas. There's a lot. We might not finish it. Oh, we have 10 minutes. Okay. Okay. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes this scene as follows. The shy loving glances of the palace women. Oh, no, sorry. This was already included in the purport. Okay. First, the queens glance at Krishna, though he was accompanied by Satyaki, Uddhava, and others, with shy loving glances. This indicated their pain of separation from him. How can we endure this? By this hint of perplexity, he became bound. He smiled to pacify them. Oh, unsteady women, just by this little separation you are disturbed? I will return very soon to eat. Then, bewildering their minds with just a smile, he got out of difficulty, freed from the bondage of their loving glances, and he went off. Now remember, where does Krishna go usually if he's not at war with some demons? He goes to the sabha. I think it's called Dharma Sabha. It's the assembly house where Krishna meets with his ministers and other important personalities of Dwarka. And remember, that sabha, that house, sabha just means like a cabinet of it's a group of, like an intended group of people, like a cabinet, yeah, like ministers and, people, advisors, that's a sabha, okay, dharma. But this assembly house, I want to say Mayadanava, or maybe that was actually the Pandavas had that one. Anyway, Vishwakarma designed Dwarka, and this particular assembly house you can read in Prabhupada's Krishna book. There was the benediction that within that house you wouldn't feel any material pangs, hunger, thirst, anything, tiredness, like you would feel nothing. So, if he went to that house, he probably wouldn't even feel hungry. And then, he might not be able to fulfill this promise. I'm kind of going off on a tangent right now, but it doesn't say. Maybe he comes back for lunch, I'm not sure. But once he's there, he's not going to get hungry. And he's meeting with these different personalities. Maybe some of them are old warriors who fought in battles. Like when you have ministers, they're people who are knowledgeable about something. They're experienced. So Krishna would go to the sabha. Then he would consult with the different personalities. Of course, there's going to be brahmanas there because they have the shastric knowledge. And then you'd have other people, right? Like Satyaki or you whatever, Ugrasena. You have all these other people. Even Nanda Maharaj and his brothers, they would do this. Like they would consult with each other, what should we do? And then they would make a decision, right? When they were in Gokul being harassed by different demons, they got together and they thought, and they talked about it. Should we go? Yes, we should get out of here. We're in trouble here. We're getting attacked. So they would do this. So Krishna, one time Krishna was visited by this king from Magadha province, right? He had escaped somehow from Jarasandha's prison. And so the king comes in, he explains his plight, and then Krishna asks, okay, what should we do about it? He can decide whatever he wants. But there's some leela there. There's like a pastime where he's advising with all his friends and his ministers, right? Uddhava, the others, whoever's Vasudeva is there. Vasudeva, his father, So there's some love in that, right? It's like, actually, there's no need for his pastime externally. He could do everything by his energy, but he's doing it because he enjoys it, right? He enjoys doing all these activities, and also pleasing his devotees, and giving us something to talk about. So Krishna doesn't need to go to a sabha. Like, that's what he's usually doing when he leaves the home. But he does it because there's a pastime there. All right, there's about 5 minutes. Does anybody have any comments, questions? I thought you raised your hand. I'm sorry, Prabhu. Okay. Let's read a little bit more here. Okay. This is Jiva Goswami. This verse shows the situation before he mounted the chariot. This verse describes the prema of the women who were holding articles for the auspiciousness of the journey inside and outside the palace. For Krishna, the object of auspiciousness in performing daily duties, who came out alone after all the people who had come from outside the city had left. The palace women glanced at him with prema, trying to stop him from leaving with their glances. Then, by slightly lowering their glances, they would allow him to depart, Vasushta. After that, he would smile, signifying, "Oh, O woman, your intelligence has been covered by prema. Why do you tremble? I will come." Okay, here we go. "I will come for a meal at noon." Okay, there we go. So he comes back at noon. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So he comes back for a meal at noon. Now we're getting a little more, like some more pieces to the puzzle, what's going on. I think Dayavir was reading the Ashtakali Alila in Vrindavan. There's clearly like a cycle of things that's going on in Dwarka too, right? So now we're getting some of the pieces. He gets up, all his morning activities. He sees the queens, the last people he sees before he leaves for the assembly house. And then now we have another piece of the puzzle. He eats at noon. He comes back home and takes his noontime meal. So great. Okay, there's something else. I was going to say something. I'm forgetting now. And we have 2 minutes. Okay. Sorry. I'm not a fount of Krishna Katha, so yes, I have to think about things. Okay. Sanatana Goswami says, "A smile would manifest because his heart was always pleased, or he produced another rasa by smiling to lighten the pain of separation. Thus he attracted their minds. He would free himself with difficulty and depart with auspicious calls from others, such as, 'Be victorious.'" So I was just thinking, I believe at the end of Bhagavatam, Uddhava actually does not follow Krishna's instruction because he wants to see Krishna. So sometimes, although something is convenient for somebody, out of love, you don't do that thing, right? Just like the queens are stopping him. He's supposed to, by dharma, he's supposed to leave and do his duties, and they're stopping him. they're obliging him. No, don't leave. So in a similar way, when Uddhava was told, I believe he was instructed to go to Badrikashram up in the Himalayas and meditate there, but he knew Krishna was leaving, and he disobeyed Krishna, you could say, but it was out of love. It was good, you know. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just, Oh, I was going to say something. I don't know. This is not a challenge. It's just a suspicion I have, because we talked about the mirror. Krishna looked at the mirror, right? He did all these religious activities. Then he decorated himself again. Not again, or you could say more. He decorated himself, right? If we go back a few verses, I think text 11. Then he looks in text 12, it says he looks at a mirror. And I was thinking, I wonder if actually before the curtains open, we're supposed to do the mirror. It's just a thought. Maybe that's the case, because generally when you go out in public, that's when you look at a mirror before you go out and step out and see it. You don't usually step out and see everybody and then put a mirror in front of you, right? It's kind of, everybody's waiting for you outside. So I don't know. I'm just thinking. It could be one of those cat in the basket type of rituals that came about within ISKCON. I don't know. Like I said, please correct me. I don't know. But I'm just thinking that, because some of these things, like with the deity worship, they're like Atmavan Manyate Jagat. It's like if you feel cold, it's probably cold. You put extra clothes on the deity. When we go out in public, usually we don't go out in public and then bring a mirror before. I was just thinking that, because here in the Bhagavatam, it's saying he gets decorated, like he does religious activities, he chants Gayatri, he takes a bath, all that stuff. Then he puts on jewelry, right? And whatever, probably a crown or whatever, and then he looks in a mirror. Just a thought, I don't know. Please correct me if somebody knows the answer to this, but that's all I was going to say. Okay, it looks like I've gone over. I'm sorry for the pujaris. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachardine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatadine Gauravani Prachardine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshata Bhajasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindavan Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindavan Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai. Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Vidyavadu Jivanam Nandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pradipam Punam Taswadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Namanaka Bhadad Vijasarva Shaktis Tatrarpitan Hamatasmaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishamiha Janina Nuraga Trinada Pisunichena Pisahisnuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahadi Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhakti Rahaituki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Tuva Ita Pato My Pranastu Savanapara Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust made for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, the chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers.